Hello everybody, this is Louisa with Ellie Paper Studio, and I have a quick video share. I've wanted to put this together for a very long time, mainly because I've actually helped, and first let me start by explaining what this video is about. I've gotten some questions over the months that my blog or the years that my blog has been up for, about how I got started, if there's any how it all kind of came together. And then once I talk to people that see some of the things that I do, sometimes their interest gets piqued and they kind of want to get in the hobby. Well, my mom was one of those people. She started as a jewelry maker, still very much is one, but now I was able to share this awesome hobby, or what I find a very great hobby, with her, and she and I had to walk her from the very beginning on what are kind of the basics that I recommend based on the kind of projects that I knew she was interested in making. Of course, the paper crafting world is very, very wide. There's a lot of tools, and my dog is around here, so you may hear him. But there's a lot of different tools you can use, and in general, different things, different specialties you can get into. And my main ones happen to be scrapbooking, card making, making mini albums, and gift making. And I call it gift making because I do make glass etch, and then I also wood burn, but that kind of came as a derivative of paper crafting because a lot of the tools that you use, especially the main expensive big tools that you use for paper crafting, can be used for those projects. So I didn't really have to go out and purchase a whole lot. So I'll go ahead and turn around. This is my list, and I'll put it together in a much better list that you can download at my blog as a PDF. And this is what I personally recommend. Now, there's tons of things you're going to find out there in a lot of these videos. This is how I got my mom started. And actually, my mom, she's retired now, and she teaches paper crafting and jewelry making at an institute where she lives in the Caribbean. And she also does a lot of charity work and projects, and she's been able to turn this not only into her teaching instructions and classes, but also she makes a lot of projects throughout the year for Valentine's Day and Mother's Day and Christmas. So she's been able to turn this into a profitable business for her. She, like I said, she's semi-retired, so she definitely has all that time to invest. So I think it was a great investment on her behalf. So for paper crafting, if you're interested in some of the projects you see on my YouTube channel, this is my list. It's a 24, and really it's 24 because this is a little card that I got from one of the Project Life paper kits, and I kind of liked it. I've been using it. So really, it could go on forever, but normally when you're getting started, my case at least, I had a limited budget and limited space to store all of this in. I will, there's a video already on my YouTube channel it's a tour of my crafting space, of my craft room. That is a new recent addition. I've only came about that for the past 6 months. So before I had that, I had one corner in one of my guest bedrooms in my old house, and that one corner had only one piece of furniture, or actually it had about 3 or 4 pieces of furniture, but they were all very inexpensive Walmart furniture, didn't take very much space. They were basically 2 bookshelves, 2 plastic drawer bins that you get at Walmart for like $12 or $13, and a L-shaped corner desk with a hutch. That's all. So if you have those kinds of constraints with your budget and your space, I highly recommend this list. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get ribbon. And what I do is I go to two places for my ribbon. I go to the dollar store where you can find ribbon that's a little bit thicker. There you're a little limited to whatever basic colors they have. Sometimes they have some really fun colors, but it's a hit or miss. And my number one place, because I love using this kind of ribbon that has a little loopies and has really great colors and pretty much any color in the color palette that you can think of, is actually Michael's. And I'm pretty sure Joann's, actually I know Joann's, and I'm not sure about Hobby Lobby, but I know Joann's carries the same type of ribbon. And it's 50 cents for these spools. Now you have to be careful when you're choosing this ribbon because there's only two types of ribbon, or three I should say. And let me come up with the third one. This ribbon, and I think I'm out of the, oh here it is. So when you go to Michael's or Joann's to the ribbon area, there's going to be a whole section and they're going to have a bunch of different ones with like satin and edges and really gorgeous and different widths. And these are going to be intermingled throughout. These are the only ones that are 50 cents. These are normally $2. So you want to be careful because if you're choosing a lot of colors like this, 50 cents versus $2 can really make a difference when you go to check out. These are the only three, and it's this really thin ribbon that's 50 cents. This ribbon with the loopies, I call them, and then just a plain 1/4 of an inch, I believe it is, ribbon. This is also from the dollar store. So you want to get yourself some ribbon. Ribbon's a great addition to whether you're doing card making, scrapbooking, or mini albums. You're going to need it. Then the next thing you want to do is you want to get yourself some punches. And what I recommended my mom did with punches is she wanted them all. We went to Michael's and she loved all the Martha Stewart, which I agree. Martha Stewart has a great paper line, very decorative, beautiful paper punches. However, they're kind of pricey, and also you kind of have to stick yourself to a budget and you can't just have it all. So what I recommended for her to do is to get one that's going to do a thick, very detailed, kind of like embroidery looking paper punch. So this is one of the large ones. And then a smaller one that could be used for tons of projects. And this is my favorite go-to paper punch. I've actually bought it twice. The first one that I used, it actually broke. That's how much I used it. And also keep in mind, because her and I we've been having this conversation lately. She's now 2 years into the craft, and her initial paper punches have gone kaput. They've died on her. They're starting to break. They're not cutting as they used to. This is this Martha Stewart's okay quality. Out of all the paper punches out there, is probably one of the better ones, but it'll still go, especially depending on how much you use it. And considering she's used it for her business and she's done a lot of heavy projects, it's very normal that hers are going. Then you want one paper punch that'll be a label looking paper punch. You're going to use this a lot for card making and scrapbooking and mini albums. You can use this for swing taps. You can use this for your greetings. You can use this as you can make windows out of this. You can make all kinds of things with these kinds of punches. So they're very versatile. So try to find something that's cute but can be used for very many different types of projects. Then, and I have a feeling this is going to be a lengthy video, so please bear with me if you're interested in this. You want cardstock. Obviously, you cannot do this hobby without cardstock. Michael's has been having a really great, and I think they've been doing this out of need out there. They've been putting together these hot buy pads. They bring about 42 sheets. This is one of them, and this one's actually textured, and it's called Embossed Brights. And this one is only one-sided. Let me see if I can find one that is, here we go. This is the reds, pinks and reds, and I really, really like these. These are 48. They're double-sided. Do you notice that they're a white core type of paper? So when you see them on the side or when you cut them, it's white cardstock that's been spray painted, if you will, or tinted at the top, and so both sides have been tinted with whatever color they wanted to give it. It's a little bit of a more cost. So in paper crafting, this is going to be your cheaper type of paper. I don't know how else to put it. Your fully cored cardstock is normally your better cardstock. The way that they make these kinds of projects, the way that they make these kinds of papers, you'll see why also when you start using it. When you rip one of these, sometimes the top will rip and the bottom won't, or sometimes it's the opposite, so all you get is the core at the bottom of the white. But regardless, the reason this is so good is because these hot buys have been out in Michael's, and I believe it's like twice a month you can find them for $5, a whole stack of these, and you get all these different colors. So you get a lot of different colors and hues, and they're very cost effective, and it's a great and easy way to build your paper collection. Your starting paper collection. Once you start using those papers and you start feeling them out, you may want to go into regular cardstock, or you may just want to start with regular cardstock. Michael's also has those blocks of paper. My favorite paper is Recollections. It's 65 pounds. They have some thicker one. I like 65 pounds because it's easier to cut for die cuts and for my machine and for embossing purposes. It's just a poundage that I'm very used to, and it's also can go through the printer. 80 pound does not go very easily through my printers, so I'm very careful when I buy thicker paper. Next, and with that cardstock, I also recommend pattern paper, so they all kind of go in the same line. At first, until you can build your background stamps collection, I recommend you just get blocks. This little block, I got it for $2.50 at AC Moore, but you can get it at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, any kinds. They have these smaller pads, and they have them once a month for $2.50. They're great. They're smaller print than the 12 by 12 counterparts. I actually have the same block in 12 by 12, and I prefer the smaller one. Even for scrapbooking purposes, you can put a bunch of these papers together and make a really cute layout. It's just more versatile and so much more cost effective until you get to know yourself and what kind of type of projects you're going to be making. And that's my dog. My next recommendation is this advanced tape glider, or you'll hear a lot of crafters call it an ATG glue gun. It's actually very pricey at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, but you can find it on Amazon for about $18. And then I'll give you a link that actually someone just very recently, or relatively recently, shared with me for very inexpensive acid-free refills. The reason this is so great is because normally the smaller ones you find at your big box craft stores, they're about 9 yards, and I believe they bring, it's something like, I'll give you the math on somewhere on the video, but you pay about $5 for 9 yards, or you pay $5 for 30 or 27 yards. So you see where this is going. This is definitely hands down the best bang for your buck. Plus, it's really easy to use, and it keeps going. You do have to obviously refill it, but it'll last you a lot longer than one of those smaller ones. And adhesive is one of the main products you're going to use when you get into this hobby. Your next one is going to be your Tombow liquid glue. This is really inexpensive. I believe it's $2.99 at Michael's regular price, and it gives you this much. This dries clear, so if you're using black cardstock, is really great to use. And also it has a little bit of drying time, so when you first put it on, you can it's flexible at first, and then it just dries completely permanently, so highly recommended. Then you're going to need a paper trimmer or scorer, and the one I use is by Fiskars. You'll see this one a lot. There's a bigger one. I probably would recommend the larger one, although this one suits me just fine, so it really depends. It's up to you. However, there's other trimmers out there that bring both the trimming and the scoring feature all in one. This one does not score. I have a scoring blade, but it's not easy to use. So I believe the ones that I've seen that I like most is Stampin' Up's. It's pricey, it's very pricey, but you score and trim all in one, so you're saving yourself money on the long run, and it's a really good quality product. So highly recommend that one too. Then you will need basic stamps, and this is where all of you are gonna, it depends on what you wanna do. If you wanna do scrapbooking, you're going to need stamps such as this one. One good set that's says things like quote, to do, top 10, date, just a note, memories, remember, location, photographed on our story, little things that'll make your layouts that are layout specific. So dates, normally when you're doing scrapbooking, you want to document dates, what was going on, so like a little top note or summary or whatnot. Or something that says memories. Those are really, really great. If you are going into card making, you're going to want one like this. Fabulous Phrases, for instance. It has all kinds of little words you can put together and to form a sentiment. And you can, for this one, for example, you can do and that's his input. That's like how he feels about it. And yeah, every time I talk, I guarantee you he's going to be squeezing that ball to try to out-talk me. This one is very versatile. You can do birthdays, you can do babies, welcome, home, welcome, if you have neighbors. So this one's kind of versatile. So something like this, if you don't know where you want to go yet, maybe get them both, if that's in your budget. Then next you're going to want Versamark, and I recommend Versamark over regular ink, mainly because it has such a wonderful effect. So you're going to want some Versamark, and you're going to want some embossing powder. Versamark is about $7, $7.99 regular price, and embossing powder you can find at Michael's these big containers of powder for about $4, maybe $5. Okay, so the puppy is taking a nap. That's his way of telling me he needs a nap. So with the Versamark, you're going to want to get embossing powder. You're going to want to get a heat gun, and that's pretty much it. The reason I recommend Versamark is because whether you're doing scrapbooking or card making, it's so much more, the effect is so much more significant. It looks, people that don't know paper crafting, and even people that know paper crafting, it just looks so much more beautiful. For powders, I would recommend just getting a basic set. You can find them in basic sets of 4 in a really, really cost-effective way, and you can find them in these little containers, and they come in sets of 4. I would recommend a white, a gold, a silver, and maybe a black. But black, gold, and silver, white, gold, and silver are the #1 type of embossing powder you're probably going to be using, whether you're doing scrapbooking and you're using these kinds of quotes or this one. Then the other thing you're going to want to do is you're going to need scissors, of course, and these are my favorite scissors. These are made by the Paper Studio. I believe Tim Holtz has a similar pair. You can find all kinds of them. You can get a set that has these smaller ones, which are great for paper trimming or trimming around an image, or you can, then you can get some of the larger ones. These are my fabric scissors. You definitely want to separate your paper scissors from your fabric scissors if you don't know that. Then you're gonna need sticky foam, and that one you can get a whole pack of these at Walmart for like $3, and that'll last you a really long time. And the reason you need that is to give dimension to your projects. You can alternatively get this type of tape, but you're gonna pay the same amount of price for only this, for example, versus getting a whole stack of sticky foam. And the only bad thing about the sticky foam is that it does come in all kinds of colors, so you have to be careful with your positioning so that it doesn't show through your project. Then you're gonna want, so that was my list of basic things. If you just buy that, you're pretty much set to start creating. If you just had all of what I told you, you could, in a pack like this, you probably could start making cards with this. You could start making layouts. You could assemble it and make a pattern of things. You can make all kinds of things. The other thing to keep in mind is that keep it simple. You can print things use your printer and use your scissors. And if you think that you need a Cricut right away, you'd be so surprised how much you could get away without having a Cricut. You just use your scissors to cut around it. Is it more time consuming? Yes. Does it require more of your skill with cutting? Yes. It's something that at the same time though, it's a lot more cost effective. Additionally, you can do a lot of different shapes with your paper trimmer. A lot of shapes are just straight rectangles, squares. With a paper trimmer and a paper score, you can already start making boxes. You can make mini albums even. All you need is paper trimmer, scissors, cardstock, and you could even use some of the products you have in your kitchen. So this is, for example, using paper bags. And I will be doing a video share of this finished album once I do complete it. And all you need to make this, for example, is just your solid cardstock pattern paper, lunch bags from your kitchen, a paper punch, maybe a flower paper punch, some brads if you want to add that. Some ribbon, so things that you already will have on hand, and you could make something like that. So I'm going to cut the video so that it doesn't become too long, and then make part 2, which is the next step of paper crafting.